Hey everybody, Michelle Holling-Brooks here from Unbridled Change and also your host of Soulful Practices podcast. And technically, I am on a break from Soulful Practices right now through the months of November and December and really spending time over working with some of the projects that we're getting ready to bring out in 2025. And I just guided to pop in and do a quick little blog/vlog video and offering to you as to really embracing this season right now. Before I dive into the vlog though, I do want to say that my kind of gift that I couldn't wait until 2025 to offer everybody that I'm kind of bringing out early is a brand new free series which allows you to like come and join together with beautiful like-minded people and let's talk about the different tools and modalities and frameworks that are out there in the healing and spiritual arts. So one of the things that I get asked almost all the time is like, hey Michelle, I wonder if I could just pick your brain about chakras, meridians, tapping, like what is this thing called the Enneagram and why is it important and what are archetypal patterns and can you tell me a little bit about astrology too and what's this thing called human design and how is that different from astrology? And basically all the different tools that I get. What is Reiki and what is the different versions of it out there and what does all of this mean, right? And sometimes it can be really intimidating. Like we can have these questions and we can want to ask them, but then we don't feel like, well, what if somebody laughs at me? What if I should know it? I don't want to get judged. And we don't then have a safe place to like get these questions answered that would really empower us to be able to know like which healing tool or spiritual tool would really best meet me right now where I'm at on my journey. And I have an eclectic toolbox that goes through all these things that I just mentioned. If there was a classroom out there for me to be in that was about healing mental health, emotional health, well-being, physical health and well-being, spiritual health and well-being and development, I was in it and I would try to find any way to learn that skill, that framework or the mentality and feel how to bring that together. So I've started a new series and it's going to launch. So our first one is we're taking back that Friday the 13th. So December, Friday the 13th, we're going to be talking about the number one that most people ask me about. I kind of call it like the gateway into the healing and the spiritual realms is the chakra system. And so I thought that would be a perfect place to start is you can come join me in this beautiful space. I'm going to give you a short little teaching about how I work with the chakra systems, the way I feel that they really invite us into the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual healing. And then open it up. The bulk of the time will be for your questions about like how the chakras work in general and how they might interact with you and what is something that you've always wanted to know about. Well, why does this chakra work with this thing? Or what is the element of this? Or what does this symbol mean? You know, you can bring that to that space and I will do my best I can to help you explore those answers and come up with some ways that you feel empowered to begin working with this beautiful integral system of yourself. And of course, at the end, I will guide a healing journey and balancing. I'm not quite sure what that will be, but it will be focused on the chakra system at that time. So the series is free. All you have to do is sign up. There will be a link in the show notes below or in the blog below where you can invite yourself to give yourself that gift in the middle of the hustle and the bustle of the holiday season and join me in that beautiful space and learn about the chakras, get some information and scratch that itch about something that you've been wanting to always know. And we'll do our best to see if we can help at least point you in the right direction with that and give you a beautiful healing place to bring some balance and alignment to this system of you, which is really integral to all the rest of you. But I'll have to wait and save that for that series in there. So sign up below. You can be with us if you can't be with us live, but you have a question. Once you register, you can submit that question. And then I'll have an opportunity to read that aloud and answer it so you can listen back in the replay. I hope you join me. It's going to be a super fun series and I'd love to have you in that space with us. Okay, so now into this idea that really was coming forward with a series of different questions that I've been on. I've been going through different podcasts and I've always been asked, you know, like, Michelle, What is it that inspired you? What is that turning point in which you created Unbridled Change, or believed that you could heal, or stepped into some version of your purpose work and living and leading and loving your authentic life? And it's pretty much always the same. Most people want to hear about my origin story, which is why I work with horses and what really kind of kicked me into that wanting to understand human development and the mind and the psyche and how it all fits together, because it was ripped away from me, right? So, but that's just one moment that put me on that path. And what I find so interesting about is this moment of time that we're in, when I felt guided to do this blog. We're in what are called like the holy months. And November and December, there are holy days and holidays and celebration timeframes for almost every major religion and minor tradition, both current and old, that could be found within these months, right? So when somebody says happy holidays, many blessings, it really is across all the genres, because this time frame is a moment where in that darkness, we find the light, right? As we start to come closer to that winter solstice, into that longest night, that parable that comes in there is, in that longest night, there is also light. And if we can lean towards that light, if we can be willing to let it come to us, to meet us in that darkness, it will give us the support that we need to begin anew, to follow that North Star within us. And that's what a turning point is, right? A turning point is when we feel lost in the dark, when we feel that we're not able to find the hope, the healing, that way out in which we can see with our mind. It's our mind has gone as far as it can take us. And in that moment, another kind of light, another type of illumination comes in, and that's our heart, that beautiful heart energy, awakening, whispering, the light and essence of our soul coming forward to guide us. And in those stories of all these different traditions that are celebrated, that bring in and harness this archetypal pattern, of this holy months that we're in right now, there is always a turning point. There is always a story of a character or a different part of that story that they were in a rut. They were busy doing, being in the busyness of their life, from their perspective, their way that they saw the world, the way that they worked the world. And something was in separation. Something was not serving them as a whole. And in those stories, there's a moment where that character is asked to witness either their life or the lives of others through a different perspective, through a new light, right? Shining in, inviting them to see something, experience something, interact with an essence that they had not seen was present before in their doing, in their being, in the busyness of life, right? And from that moment of pause, from that moment of stillness, a new perspective is born. And in that new perspective, in that moment, that is the ingredients that helps take their struggle from separation and open up to unity, open up to surrender, open up to wholeness, and open up to a quote turning point in their story where they were one way, and then now they come back from that experience and they start to walk down a different path, down a different road. And one of the same things that's in almost all of these stories is that that character is asked to release their attachments to what they know, what they valued, what they held as tenements of truth, and open up to the unknown. They don't actually know where their footfalls are going to take them. They don't actually know how this is going to manifest in their daily life. They just know that no longer can they keep holding on to what was, and they're being asked to open up and move to what is. And the what is also something they don't know really what that is. It's kind of crazy, and it's that leap of faith. So the fascinating thing that really brings that I feel in these holy months is that it is that invitation to witness the turning points within ourselves through these stories of these traditions, of these moments where somebody went from feeling alone and separated and lost in the darkness of their life to feeling a sense of unity, of love, of joy, of light and enlightenment coming back into their world just as it was. Nothing changed, but everything changed on their inside. And they're willing to walk with that faith of not knowing how that's going to change their outer world, but they're willing to release their attachment to the old and open to what is new. They're willing to step into walking and living with faith. And that's what those turning points do for us, right? They give us that courage, that ability to really say, you know what? I don't want to keep doing it the same old way. I have a new light within me, a new life within me, and it wants to be born. It wants to share itself with the world, and I'm going to follow it. So where we saw blocks, we now see opportunities and choices. Where we once saw only pain and maybe victimization or quote dis-ease, we see compassion. We see opportunities to give and to receive, to ask for support and to offer support. Where we saw lack of blessings, we can see blessings in what we had deemed not okay or unvaluable, right? Like we can see these beautiful choice points, these kernels and nuggets of really allowing ourselves to shift from feeling one way to opening ourselves up to the freedom to be with what is. And little by little, choice point by choice point, everything begins to reshape itself. Everything begins to change. So these turning points really represent a moment or circumstances that come together in divine chaos, which often feels chaotic to us. And in that divine chaos creates an opportunity, a pause in the busy hustle and bustle of being in the work of the doing, and invites us into the pause and just the being with ourselves, being with the perspective that we're being asked to see and observe and work with, so that we can choose how we now want to move back into motion, back into gaining a new momentum that is full of grace, that is held within us as we go to the next point and the next point and the next point. So this holiday season, I felt invited to offer you a reflection practice. This is one that I often love to do coming into the end of the year and into these months, is where I do a little reflection. And I invite myself to honor the greatest gift that I can give myself and give to others is witnessing my own life as a blessing, seeing it as a beautiful blessing, even the experiences throughout that year in the past that might or might not I deemed at the time as a blessing. So it's kind of like a little scavenger hunt of going back in and allowing myself, okay, now that I'm out of the fray of whatever was in there, let me reflect on that. Let me see and witness. Let me fast forward, rewind it, and see what was up with that moment. What was working its way through, and what turning point did that create within me that brought me into closer balance, closer harmony, an ability to be in alignment with who I truly be. So that's my kind of gift and my offering to you this season. And right now, let's go ahead and practice it, right? So take a deep breath in and out. And I invite you to just kind of pull up this past year for you. I know for me, 2024 went by so fast, and I can't even believe I'm already planning 2025, and it feels like 2025 is already kind of gone by the time I look at the calendar, right? And so it is in our presence that we bring our energy. And so just take a moment, and if it's not in this past year, if you feel guided to open yourself up to the larger timeline of your life, then feel free to do that, right? But what would you consider to be a turning moment for you? And this is also where I invite you to let your guidance guide you. So even if it's taking you to a little moment where you heard a voice that said, hey, hold that door open for the next person, and you listened, And that moment, you saw a smile or you felt a gratitude or a grace. And you realized that from that moment, that it held you there just long enough that synchronicity came in and you got to see an old friend in the parking lot that you had never seen in like forever. And you got to reconnect and feel that joy and that warmth of that connection, or however that rippled out. So be willing to let yourself see big choice points and then also little choice points, because they all matter and they're all equal in the eyes of your soul. So feel into whatever moment's coming forward for you and just explore. Get a bird's eye view. What was happening for you in that moment? What ahas or insights were being able to come forward that helped you break out of that habitual movement of kind of what's called, Tara Brach calls it the trance, where we're just stuck in being and doing and seeing and experiencing things through the eyes of being asleep. So we're not actually interacting and present with what is. And so, in that moment, as you look at it, what was able to awaken? What doorways were created from that moment within you? Just notice those gifts, the blessing that that brought for you. And if you want to deepen this practice even more, allow yourself to look at the truth that those moments weren't created in a vacuum. There were other things leading into that choice point. So, what was happening in the larger playing field of your life before that moment? What was it experiencing? What was going well? What was going just okay? What were areas that you might deem as like concern or struggle? Good, the bad, the ugly, right? What other kind of themes were present for you leading up to this turning point moment that your system would like you to fill in, to become aware of the influence and the flow that it was guiding you into? And from that turning point moment, there's always a wedge of awareness, right? That comes in, that opens us up. So we can literally see, sense, hear, feel, and know in new ways. A new level of consciousness, a new level of awareness, a new level of then possibilities and change, like the air, the temperature, the elements that make up Earth literally are shifting. And what was that bubbling up within that moment? What wanted to take root of a new way of being from that turning point? And if you fast forward from that turning point, how did it take root? What in the days and the weeks and the months after that moment can you see are fruits of that choice? Now that you've got some separation, some distance, some ability to see how that maybe little, maybe big moment changed the course of who you truly be. What are some of the things that want to be kind of dusted off so that they can continue to be with you as you're going down this path of change and growth and empowerment? What are some of the ways that you wanted to protect your survival system? And so I always love to look at the places where I said yes to the change and also the places where I said no, because those were there too. So, what are some of the places that I got kind of gummed up in and I could feel that more new change and opportunity wanted to come forward, but there were parts of me that were afraid, that were stuck in their shadow survival mechanisms and kind of get lured off the path of change into the weeds. And then In that archetypal pattern of getting lured off that path of seeking that knowledge and that change, there's usually a beautiful guide that comes in. It could be in the form of a book, it could be in form of a person, a plant, a beautiful being that comes in and helps us kind of wake back up, reminds us that we were on a trek, right? That we were on a new course and we were moving down a path. And which one of those would like to come forward to kind of help you continue to leverage this turning point that it's inviting you to remember? So, if it can feel good to just invite your system to help you set that intention. As I move forward, I'm rededicating myself, or I'm allowing myself to go to the next stage of what I've been experiencing. I'm willing to let myself have everything up for grabs and let light guide me. I'm willing to bless my life with light, with love, with empowerment. And I set this intention, insert what it is for you, as I move into this next stage. And so it is. So this is my beautiful blessing to you as we dive in. So I guess when I said, I don't think I'll do another episode, I guess I was kind of right, kind of not right, because this is like a holiday bonus episode coming in here in the form of a vlog / soulful practices of bringing those together. So this reflection really is housed within that greater archetypal pattern of that seeker's journey, right? And in two different areas right now, I have offerings to help meet you in both these areas. One is I have an on-demand version of the live workshop that I used to do that was allowing you to find that North Star in the path of the seeker. And this last meditation was just a little excerpt of ones that I go further with in that course. So if this is talking to you and you're like, you know what, I feel like I do get lured off into those side trails and I do get gummed up with like expectations for myself and then feeling like I'm too far off course and I can't get back on. If that's really talking to you, that might be a beautiful resource for you to check out and to bring into alignment. I'll put the link in there. The other one is in Connecting with Joy. This month of December, I have a beautiful episode up that's called Your Life is a Blessing that helps you take, again, the practices of this and bring it in. The other one is Soulful Practices. Pretty much any episode in there will bring you into that as that goes as well. So I hope that all these different resources are available to you to support you as you step into this season of light, into this season of stillness, of pause, of allowing yourself to take that moment to step away from that habitual doing, go inside, go into that stillness, and allow that stillness to bring you the light, to bring you the awareness and the understanding of that which is. So my final blessing to you this beautiful holiday season is may you have light within you and around you. May this light help warm your heart. May this warmth give you comfort, compassion, and love for the parts of you that are being needed to be seen, felt, and heard. And may you witness from this light, from this warmth, your life as a gift, as the blessing that it is. May you feel empowered to share your light, warmth, and gifts with others. And may you in return feel the warmth, light, and gifts of others within your life too. And so it is. Peace, peace, peace. Until next time, Michelle Holling-Brooks with Unbridled Change, offering you light, love, and joy. Bye.